Okay, Thursday, March 27th, come on over to the FAM. You can get your tickets online for What Remains Herstory. So if you remember, back in October, we did What Remains Dark History. And the What Remains program is collection-based programming. So we are diving into our collection to pull out pieces for Women's History Month. And so we're taking a unique angle on this because the way that history's treated women, they don't always get remembered. So I'm actually standing here with my friend, this beautiful dress. This is a morning gown from Sarah Blanche McGee Thomson. She lived at the end of the 19th century, early 20th century. We do know her name, but we don't know much about her. So we're going to take people like this and explore their stories through the objects they left behind. But we're going to go a step further, and we're going to take objects who we don't know who owned them, but we know they were owned by women. So I have some other dresses with some fantastic stories, but we don't know their owner. So we're going to talk about trying to figure out who these women are and building lives out of just the things they have left behind, and then really focusing on how do we fix this going forward? How do we make sure people's legacies are remembered? And, just giving a nod to all these incredible women of Fredericksburg's history who may not be the headliners of history, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's a fabulous idea, though, to be able to look at the dress and realize that that was a person.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And it's so easy to sometimes forget, especially we have a beautiful sewing kit that on the surface you're like, this is just a sewing kit, but we know who it belonged to. And when you start digging into her life, she lived an incredible life. And same thing with Sarah here. We can learn so much from this dress. It was clearly only worn once or twice. We can kind of date based on the style of the dress and what the occasions were for. We can go back and look at her ancestry and see if we can figure out who she wore it for. So there's a lot of clues hidden in plain sight, and we're really, really going to dig into those.
Oh, Kylie, this is fascinating because you look at it and it reminds you of a grandmother, or it's such a proper kind of dress.
Oh my gosh, yeah, and she was probably in her 20s when she wore this. So she was still a young woman when she had this dress on, and just the craftsmanship is remarkable. So we have a bunch of hand woven lace in there that it's just there are so many talented women out there that have these amazing stories. And it also, everything in our collection deserves a little bit of attention. So What Remains gives us a chance to give everybody their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah, and in some cases, you don't have to have a picture. You're doing this all off of a dress.
Yeah.
I love that.
And it's really fun to imagine who she was or what she saw. And I really want to talk about a dress I'm showing, but I don't want to give it all away. It's not as in good shape of this, but it has some remarkable clues that you can just only imagine who this person was. So we have we have paintings, we have dolls, we have dresses. We even have some newspaper articles of old matrimony ads. So it was dating before, cell phones. And it's a grab bag of women's history, which is super exciting.
There are some exciting things happening here at the museum. And your way of looking at things is just fascinating.
Everything is interesting. And the cool thing about my job is being able to tell these stories, because everything is important to somebody at some point, and everyone's worthy of being in a museum. So how do we really, really dive into that and make the most out of it?
As you look at the dress, it is. You just look at it, it's so
stunning.
Intricate.
Oh my gosh, just between the ruffles and even the fabric itself is so specially chosen to represent death that this was the fashion. You used this crepe because you didn't want something bright and shiny. You needed something that was more dull, that kind of reflected your mood. So the laws of fashion at the time tell us a lot about what these women were going through too. This was probably very performative. She probably wore this for the funeral because she had to, and she did not wear it outside of that, and that's why it's preserved so well.
Where did you get something like this? Where did the museum get it?
So a huge part of our collection has come to us just over the years from a ton of different people. This actually came from the family of this woman.
Okay.
It was years ago. I can't remember the year off the top of my head, but a lot of this stuff comes from people's attics or their closet that they know they have something special.
Yeah,
And
this
so
is.
we're excited to share it.
So this is just one of the things that you'll see on Thursday night.
Oh yeah, and it has been so difficult to choose because we have tons of things, especially when we're talking about imagining who these people were. We can go on and on and on and on. So this is for everyone out there. It's not just, like I said, we're not just talking the headliners. This is representative of every woman who has stepped foot in Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
And the story doesn't end there. So there are still some seats left, so you can go ahead and get those. And I hope to see you guys there because I'm going to end the program with, we're going to have a discussion where people can share their stories. You know, who's that woman in your life who you, even if it's yourself,
Yeah.
you know, what legacy do you want to leave behind? So it'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Starts at 7 on Thursday.
Yes, on 7, Thursday, 3rd floor of the museum. We'll see you guys there.